Hey guys, and welcome. I am the Seven Swords, and this is Factorio Void Block. We are continuing in our run of Factorio to check out what's going on, or to make progress of getting off this little island and into the great wide world out beyond. Um, the one thing I kind of wish is I kind of wish that the game would give you more to start with. Like you'd have a bigger island to start with. But I understand why it's this big. I understand why they want you to start small. Um, the landfill will also notice, like if I take some of the landfill we've created, I will in a second. First thing I want to do is place down some of these, place down some of this, and then today's we're going to be working on getting. Um, let's go with steel processing. That'll be another good one to get towards. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One thing you will notice if we place down some landfill, you'll notice it looks very different from this, so we'll know where this is the entirety of the playthrough. We'll also notice that I can pick up the landfill out of the ocean. I cannot pick up the island. So this island is going to be basically the only thing that this island will be with us until the end. It's like that block of bedrock that you start with on a Minecraft void world that you'll never see gone. And I actually prefer when it doesn't exist because I prefer not having to deal with it. And I don't even have a creative mode in this to get rid of it because I don't even know if that's a possibility in Factorio. But that's okay. I don't mind having this little island to be the marker of where we used to be. I might put my reactor here when we build a reactor. I might not. I haven't decided. But in the last episode, we got started. We revealed that the stone brick is going to be our problematic child here. Yes, it is not produced very much of, but it is still the most problematic because even if I have 100 of these working, that's 5 stone brick every craft. So every cycle. So yeah. Um, but what will we be doing today? One thing we're going to be working on is towards steel processing. Um, on top of that, we'll be working towards getting ourselves a bit more spread out. That's one reason I'm making I'm making landfill. We will also be working towards getting just more stuff going. The more shards I get, the better, because shards can be made into the void things, and eventually we need 50 of these to get to electricity, which is going to be one of our goals eventually, is to get electrified. What we can do, that was me moving at 64 times speed, so that's one reason why I don't do that very much in this, especially when I'm recording, because I understand it jostles the screen around a lot. It causes a lot of problems. It's very hard to see. So I will be trying to avoid doing that. Hopefully I remember to take it off as soon as I start moving around again and noticing how fast I'm moving. Even I don't play with that speed normally. Normally, if I'm playing with a high speed, I'm normally playing with I'm normally playing at 8 times speed. But we're gonna go ahead and get one of these, another void thing built. And the reason we're gonna get another void thing built is that we can do this to have it make the void technology packs on its own. The next thing we're going to do also, because I think it'll be a good idea to have this in order to not only use up some of these, but also to keep this running. We're gonna go ahead and make that. It's the same, like I said with earlier, like I said in the first episode, it's a lot like the similar with Factorio, is that it runs very similar in the fact that you're going to see it be basically running as it doesn't take it out, but I think it's because of the fact that it's trying to that it's basically saying there's already enough in there, which is kind of annoying because that's not going to be enough. I need 50 of them, and it does not give. It did not have 50. But yeah, we're working towards 50 because we want to get electrification so that I can stop burning coal to make coal. I can stop burning coal to make water. I can stop burning coal to make science. Or at this point, we're burning disgusting slime to get it out of our to get it used up. And we'll notice our inventory slowly filling up with more and more useless junk. Yes, we are filling up on copper. We will eventually have a way of dealing with copper. That will also be another one of my goals, but again, it takes a lot of different things to do that. We're also going to be working on towards a couple of the other sciences. The next one of the normals that I want is logistics. Logistics will let us do belts. It'll let us get our inserter setups a little bit more designed. As we saw in the last one, I have Bob's configurable inserters. It's a mod pack I really enjoy because I feel like the inserters should be able to be more configurable than they are. I do not like long inserters because they are very limited. So I like having the option to go with something a little bit different. Also helps me set up my builds a little bit more compact. It lets me mess around with them a bit more. It works out well for us. If you did make any comments in the first episode, I apologize, but I recorded both of the first episode and this episode back to back. I was feeling like playing, like recording a bit more, so I just continued on recording. Luckily, this is not one of those packs where I'm going to feel like I want to only record and I don't want to bother uploading, because I can't play it unless I'm recording it, like with some of the other games I play. This one is, I will be able to play it even if I'm in the middle of a recording for it, because, well, it has save files. But I will be getting into the recording. I will be working on uploading them next. I'm only going to be doing them. I'm probably going to be doing them in sets of 2, but I cannot promise an upload schedule. I will not promise upload schedules anymore. I can't keep to them because of my work. My job keeps me relatively busy, so I won't be able to say, oh, you guys will get a recording every X amount of days. No, it's not something I can say. It's not something I want to say. I'm not going to be giving a specific time of when I will be recording something. I will literally just be recording it as I can. We're going to be working on getting a lot of landfill. Landfill is one of the things that is going to cause us problems. If I had one of the warehouses unlocked, if I had a warehouse, I'd be moving this stuff into a warehouse and then having the warehouse sort it all out. But I don't have the space for any of that. That's one reason why we're getting logistics. Once we get logistics and enough space, we can start spreading out our stuff. We also are going to be working on getting more of these, but I need to, well, for one, I need to remember to grab my stuff out of there. But it'll also let us get more of what we need. Using these, I can get iron, I can get coal, I can get whatever I feel like I need more of very quickly. We'll notice we have plenty of coal. Like, coal is not a problem in this. Coal is not a problem. Iron is a bit of a problem, but I wouldn't call it too much of a problem. Iron will be the one that we add. This void machine will be in charge of making iron, because I want more iron. I already have it covered there. But yep, this one will make iron. It'll also make stone, which will be good for us. It'll make iron plates, which will be good for us. It'll make void shards, which is good for us. So this is all good. We will be noticing that I mentioned in the last one that stone bricks it makes too much of, and I'm sticking by that for now. I still don't have a way of getting rid of them. I will talk about it later, but there's a way to eventually get rid of everything else, just not stone bricks. But one of my plans with is to eventually have a bunch of these running, so that they produce iron ore, copper, iron, whole bunch of stuff, and it'll just be constantly being pumped into the system to constantly have resources flowing. But again, it's a process of we need more of a little bit of everything. There's not enough of anything. That whole beginning of Factorio problems. Even in modded, you run into the same problem of never enough. The good news is that we are getting our spacing out, so that gives us more room. The more room we get, the more machines we can build. The more machines we can build, the more stuff we can have. The more stuff we can have, the more stuff we can make, which eventually snowballs into itself. That's one of the big things about Factorio. Another game I plan on playing eventually on the channel is Satisfactory. I like Satisfactory. I actually think that Satisfactory. I used to think that Satisfactory and Factorio was like Satisfactory was fun, but I had Factorio, so I didn't need to play Satisfactory. I can now say that Satisfactory has updated with some things that make it worth playing over Factorio. I'm doing Factorio because I like Factorio, but I also like a lot of what Satisfactory does. 20. You could go with void fill, which is basically landfill from the void, which gives us reinforced concrete, stone, and void shards. Can't do anything really with reinforced concrete, but we could use it to pave the base eventually. It's not an official base until you pave it. As if I believed that. This will create stone bricks, which is a problem, but I'm okay with that for right now. This is the lowest form of the recipe from nothing. There are recipes eventually that we will get to that have advantages over these because they either will not produce the byproducts, they'll produce it faster, and other things like that. But as of right now, it's not really that big of a deal. I don't mind the byproducts. The byproducts can be useful. And this is obviously running like this because I really don't mind it being slow right now. We do need the 50 for the thing, but right now I'm focusing on trying to just burn off as much of this disgusting slime as possible. What I will do is I will do this. Oh. Well, I did that backwards. So that's the filtering for chests. That's a mod I have installed, a mod I really like. Basically allows you to set the filters of what you want inside the chest, allowing me to have a little bit more control over what is being put into the chest. So with like this, I will be able to control to make sure there's always a spot for, like, let's say I was doing into this chest, I could always do it as a spot for iron, and so on and so forth. We are getting to the point where we're going to be needing less of these. As of right now, I'm mostly wanting them for other purposes, but we are going to turn to 64 speed for a few minutes. Well, again, not a few minutes, but for a few seconds. Mostly just because I am trying to get through this part as quickly as possible. And like I said, I don't feel like it's going to be a situation of me ever needing to click, of me ever needing to not show you guys what's going on, because this is basically as good as a time lapse. But it allows me to continue talking, and it's not as hard for me to figure out how to do. I don't know how to do time lapses personally, and I'm not interested in learning. Not to mention, I'm not a big fan of recording anyways, so I don't want to have to learn how to do time lapses. I normally wouldn't burn carbon, but we have more than enough carbon for me to burn a little bit of it. Carbon's another one of those. It's useful, so I usually try not to destroy it, but I also don't want to have too much of it. And I am getting to that point where we are having a lot of different resources built up because of the fact that right now we're still burning through stuff. Once we get to electrify, I will be moving away from these. Not really because of the fact that electrify really makes them unnecessary, but because it starts to get to the point where you shouldn't be using um, these as much, because we can eventually get to the point where we have iron, copper, stone, and all the stuff being produced in these instead. And then I can control how much copper is being produced, and if there's too much copper being produced, I can just ignore it. All right, that brings us to enough of that. So we're going to go ahead and fast forward until that's finished. I am still going to be working in the background to get stuff running because, as we can see, I still need a lot more of a lot of different things. I am hoping to eventually get past this whole having to be moving everything around and eventually having everything be moved around by something else. But again, that is I need to get past the starting stages of this. I will keep switching back and forth between making copper and not making copper. I don't need a lot of copper in this early age, but I do need to have copper available as I need it. So I will be trying to cook a little bit of copper every once in a while. Alright, we finished the electrical. So now what I can do is I can go into here and we can craft the electrical ones. The first one I'm going to craft the electrical of is the water pump. It's not being used a whole bunch, but that still needs to be done. And we're going to also notice that our power demand is about to go through the roof. Because that's the next hurdle we're going to run into, is power demand. I'm going to build a couple of these. This is nowhere near the number we're going to have eventually, so I don't mind building a couple of them. But we'll notice the maximum consumption is 517 kilowatts. That is a lot of power, especially since right now we are using less of that. And, well, it says 517. Right now our max production is 900. So we can run 2 of these, and that's it. And we have more than just 2 of those that are going to be running. So, yep, you guys know what's going to happen next. We're going to be running into another problem, and I'm going to have to fix that. A Factorio constant. You constantly have it to be that you're running into problems, but every advantage gives us something to consider as an advantage. We now no longer need to pump coal into here. They also have module slots. These are not normal modules. We'll notice that they're runes. Those are something we'll discover and work with later. Another thing I might eventually do is I might eventually move towards making these better. But right now what we're going to do is we're going to tear down all of these because I don't need any of them anymore. I don't want the massive amount of garbage to be made anymore. I just want what I need. Which is going to be us starting in this direction, which stone making into landfill is still something big we're going to be needing to do because we need a lot more land. We need a lot more space. Not only for our work, but also because we're going to start moving in the direction of upgrading the base. And that means more steam power, because now we have consumed the max amount of steam power. So, yeah. That's fun. We're going to use our bots for the first time here. I'm going to cut this and move this over to here. I'm going to pick that up for them so that they don't have to do that. Let them get back to work on that. And then go ahead and build us another steam engine. My cat has jumped up next to me and is now trying to rub against my arm as she wants attention. May hear her meowing every once in a while. That gives us up to 1.8 billion watts, or 1.8 megawatts. Increases it quite a bit, but as you can still tell, it's still going to be a long march towards us having a decent amount of power. But we are moving away from this kind of work. I will be producing more and more of everything. A lot of our stone is going to go straight into the process of making more landfill. Landfill is something we're going to need a lot of. I might do the void landfill eventually. I haven't decided yet. If we do the void landfill, it's going to be expensive because it is going to produce stone bricks, so it's still going to be a problem there. You'll notice that there's no area in here that tells us what the void recipes are. I wish that it did. I can understand why they didn't want to put it there though, because they didn't want to confuse people, making you think you could do it and do the void craft by hand. Oh, is these full? Yes, these are full. I always forget to drain my furnaces of their outputs a lot because I'm used to running with furnace stacks from the later game. I am going to start working towards the idea of making a furnace stack though, even if it is just a simple 4x4 furnace stack. We will be making it bigger eventually. I will be making a bigger furnace stack. The first furnace stack may not even run with a coal line. But 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. All right. Now if I get a furnace, which I'm going to go ahead and create a new furnace because we always need more furnaces, even if the furnaces do cost me stone. It's fine. I won't have very many of these because eventually we will be moving to steel furnaces, which obviously will use stone brick, which, like I said before, stone brick is the thing in this I do not need more of, so having another use for it would be useful. I'm also going to create some of this because this will help me out some as well. It's not going to be super effective due to the fact that it is just going to be a small 1 furnace deep that needs to be hand-fed coal, but it will have its own advantages. I can also show what these do. So these are the compact loaders, and these are the compact loaders. They do not need the electricity to run. They do not need, they don't need much. But what I can do is if I put them down like this, and then place that there so that the furnace is being fed, I can put this here and we'll notice they'll automatically take out of the chest on both lanes and put them into and then be able to put into the chest on both lanes. So that'll let us now make our coal, or not our coal, but our iron processing pretty much instant. We did do steel. We might go with, I'm going to go with long inserter 1 at then logistic science packs, because long inserter 1 will give us the ability to have long inserter styles of this, which is useful, and then logistic science packs is extremely useful for moving towards getting advanced materials processing, which is us getting our steel furnaces, which is what we're going to be using. I want those before I make a full furnace stack, because if I don't get those before a full furnace stack, we'll have to deal with me having we'll have to deal with basically having a bunch of stone furnaces we do not need, because we will not need very many of them. And the stone can be used for landfill instead of being used for stone furnaces, which is useful. I miss having squeak through. I used to have squeak through for this, but it does not work with this for some reason. I have not seen an updated version that it runs. So I wish I had squeak through, but I don't. I will be still using some of these furnaces for cooking stuff, even though we have the, I don't even know if this could be called a furnace stack, because literally all this does is take it out, put it in and take it out on its own. Not even like a stack of furnaces, it's only one single furnace. But even though we have that running, I'm not going to be using it too much. But This episode's actually gone by really quickly. It's already at 24 minutes. We're going to see if we can get a little bit more process timed in, since I want to make sure we get as much done as possible. Mostly because I want to have more landfill and more stuff done before we quit, just so that I know that when we come back, we'll have more to do. Maybe even have a second of these to have copper have its own processing, so that I don't have to worry about copper either. Well, not that I don't have to worry about it, but more that I don't have to think about it. I'm not going to say that I don't have to worry about it, because it's definitely not going to be something that runs quickly. And it's going to be something that definitely we do not have nearly enough going into it. We also need more science packs, so we're going to go ahead and make a lot more science packs. And we're going to go pick this one up. Go put that in. The autofill does not work with robots. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Never really considered it myself. I do need a lot more landfill though, because we're going to be making landfill over here to build this. But as soon as we get up to a certain point in the game, we will have plenty of landfill, because there is ways around the current problem we are having with landfill. I wish I could figure out why I could never figure out how to daisy chain things, because I always like try to daisy chain. I've tried to like daisy chain furnaces before, and it doesn't work for me for some reason. But like I'd like to daisy chain these so that I could take a inserter, then put it here so that it pulls out of the furnace of the boiler. Oh, it does work. You know, I was not expecting that. But if that's the case, then I know exactly what I'm going to do with that. Build 2 more of these. I will go ahead and pick up this. Build that. Because I'm moving away from furnaces. I'm just going to use these until I get to having a decent furnace set up. But we're going to go ahead and do this so that I can run another steam engine in order to have a little bit more power. I don't need that second steam engine, but that's fine. I have ways of using it. That'll increase our power production so that we're producing a little bit more power, so that everything's producing a little bit faster. As if you are slowly producing power, or if you're producing insufficient amount of power, it'll produce everything slower. Last thing I want is to be producing anything slower, since that means the landfill will be coming in slower, which means we will be expanding our island slower. For a while, it's going to be landfill is going to be the name of the game, because we're going to want to make a bigger island to make more area to work with. And even though I don't need to make every single island, every part of the island filled in, I can have holes all over the place. I will get stuck on them and I will be annoyed, so I'm just going to constantly be filling them in. Something I might look into eventually is adding a jetpack mod to let me fly, so that I can at least fly around and not have to worry about walking through these things. It's the one thing I don't like about having to walk, is that I don't like being stuck. But I also don't like not having a RoboPort available to myself, so I can copy and paste these down and build them. Like I said, we're going to be doing furnace stacks eventually. These are the starts of those furnace stacks. This is not how they are going to look. They're going to have one more belt here, and then they're going to have another row of furnaces down here to make iron, and then another belt below it to bring in the coal. But yeah, this is what it's going to look like for now, which is fine. What we can do to make it a little bit easier on ourselves everything in Factorio. I find that one fix for Factorio for a lot of people, and this is going to sound rich coming from me of all people, but it is true. Um, your way of fixing any of your problems is automate. Feel like you don't have enough iron, automate more. If you feel like you don't have enough of this, automate more. Automate more, automate more, automate more. That would be my suggestion to people. I don't do it myself, but that is definitely how you fix a lot of problems in um, games like this. You automate, automate, automate. But that's the end of the episode. If you guys enjoyed watching, I appreciate it. Well, if you guys enjoy watching, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more of my content, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys coming out. I'm glad to be back to recording. This was the second episode of Factorio, so I will not be recording another episode right now, as I'm going to want to take a break, give my voice a chance to recover, maybe eat something and get some stuff, and then probably work on uploading this. But hopefully in the next episode we're able to get farther along the path of creating landfill to get the island a bit bigger. It is slowly grown to a little bit. Some people might say, well, there's all this space right here that I'm not using. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm also not someone who optimizes everything to the greatest ability. That's not something I do. I apologize. But it's just not who I am. I will be eventually automating more stuff. I'm just working towards getting the things I need to do that. We now have the ability to get long inserters so that they can pick up from a longer distance. That'll help us with our coal lines. That'll help us with a lot. This is just the beginning of our automation process, obviously. But until then, see y'all next time. Later.